studio background. They're gonna be like, who's this lady?
Oh, hold on one second.
She's the bold lady. We know that lady. How's your wife doing, Molly?
Thank you so much for asking. She had a terrible day yesterday. However, that has turned into a pretty good day today. So
wow, fantastic. Yeah,
Thank you for
recovery
asking.
is never easy. I had surgery in November. I was in an accident. And recovery, so my heart goes out to her.
oh my gosh, are you doing better now?
I fell off my horse.
Hey, Natasha, Monica's in the waiting room, just so you know.
Sorry. So strange. It doesn't give me a notification. Let me quickly just. Thank you, Nicole.
You fell off your horse, Natasha?
Yeah. Why can't I see Monica?
Let me
I don't
text
see her, Nicole. Sorry. Because you guys were both in the waiting room that I could have missed, but I don't see anyone else. Yeah, Molly, I fell off and broke a couple of bones, but we're good now.
You know what I hate to tell you?
See in the waiting room, so
That I
just-
understand how you feel. I got thrown off a horse 13 years ago and broke my back in 3 places. Terrible. I'm glad you're recovering. It took me 2 years because I broke my tailbone. That was the worst.
Oh, yeah, that is crazy. I broke 3 ribs in my collarbone, so it's I didn't have to sit on it, so that's okay.
Collarbone is terrible because they can't do anything for it.
I had surgery on mine. It broke really badly. Yeah.
My little nephew William broke his collarbone last week, and one of my best friends Logan broke his collarbone 2 weeks ago. It's in the air.
It's sore. Yeah, you just gotta hold it still. It's sore.
Indeed.
There we go. There, Monica's in. I wonder why I couldn't see her, but there we go. Hey,
Okay.
Monica.
It's Monica. Okay,
Hey,
let
Monica.
me get her
You're so
back.
pretty.
Okay, let's get that screen on. Hi, guys.
Hold on one
He's gonna
second.
put the screen on.
Hey, Monica, how are you?
We're just missing Andrew now, right?
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, Chris will call Andrew as soon as he gets me lined up here. He's a multitasker.
Monica, I love your dapper. That jacket's awesome.
Okay.
Oh, get my came into the office because hi, Natasha. Long time no see
Hey,
you.
It's been a while. I should have hugged you twice already since the last time I've seen you and no traveling. So that sucks.
I know. It's so sad. So sad. I can't wait to come back. These guys are all coming back with me. So
Coming with.
we're coming.
Yay.
Monica, I had a
Yay.
great idea. This is no better time than now. I think I should come for 4 weeks and do a bold there, a live bold when we can.
Oh yeah. No, you would want Molly, Natasha. She's our energy superstar. She's awesome.
I do love
She is.
energy. It's my favorite.
Yeah. So Chris is calling Andrew right now. Wants to make sure he's got the right link. All right.
Fantastic.
So, Natasha, you guys are pretty much on lockdown right now, correct?
We're in level 3, meaning most businesses are open, but we have a curfew. So you're not allowed out of your house from 9 in the evening till 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning. No alcohol sales, no parties, no gatherings. So we're moving forward. Restaurants are open and so on. So at least there's some business happening.
Yeah,
just
that's good.
with masks and so on. So it's
That's
actually
good.
not bad. Mm.
Good. And your market is up, right? Your market is,
Yes.
that's great.
Since
Yeah.
we came out of hard lockdown. Sorry, Molly.
I heard there was no alcohol. Is that true?
Yep, alcohol sales have been closed since before New Year's.
Wow.
Clearly, South Africans
Very
don't know how to
smart,
take it.
because it does not promote social distancing when you
No,
drink.
that's exactly that. Yeah.
However, in
Wow.
speaking with Jake and Magri last night, they had their coveted champagne and they were very excited.
So no, but since our hard lockdown ended around, I think it was August, September, Andrew, there we go. The sales have been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So that's really great. Hey, Andrew,
Hello, hello.
how are you?
I am so good.
We're keeping you busy today.
I know. I'm sorry about just now we were just on it. I had these technical issues, and anyway, now I'm good.
No problem. No problem. When you do something online, and you do it live, you have to know that some way something's going to go wrong. And so far, I think everything's been really smooth. So for this session, I'm going to mute myself and put my camera off. I'm going to be listening though. And I was just telling Nicole and Molly that the stream goes live on the hour. So just before that, I'll mute myself, hit the record button, and then I'll stay online with you, but I won't interfere. On the
Okay, so you're not introducing us or introducing the session, correct?
No, I can if you want me to, but that wasn't my plan.
No, I'm happy to do it. You know that, Natasha.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I've got my notes here, but what's the name of the session again?
This session is called, hold on. I think it's Battle of the Scriptmasters listings. So mostly getting listings, handling objections.
Yeah. So the questions we got, we're laying into it, and then we're going to get into some of the questions, and then we'll get into some of the objection handlers. Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. And you can go with whatever's comfortable for you. If the question doesn't make sense to you, or if you have a better question, then that's okay too.
No, we stuck with what you guys gave to us, and then we're going to go through. We can't do a whole listing presentation, but we're going to pick out 2 or 3 questions that they feel are very pivotal or very important to ask during the presentation.
Thank you. And I couldn't have 3 better panelists and a better facilitator for this. This is going to be amazing.
This will be fun. This will be fun.
So on the platform, there is a live chat that's available for the attendees. So I'll keep an eye on that. If there are any good questions, I'll pop them on the chat box here. You can ignore them if you want to. If it's something that you think you should answer, then you can answer it. Otherwise, you can just keep going.
Okay. And then do we all see what's in the chat box?
On Zoom, yes, I think you should all see.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, I just saw it's open to everyone. Okay, yeah. So that if you guys see it too and it's something you want to tackle, then we'll do that, okay?
Perfect. Awesome, this is so exciting. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh gosh, of course.
And yeah, when you come visit, I actually missed my safari that I was supposed to go on at the end of the last year. I told Molly I fell off my horse. And I missed the safari, and I was thinking of you all, thinking, oh, you also missed yours, and we'll have to make up for that.
I know, we had such a good plan there too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But it's okay. It will happen.
Next time. Yeah. I was saying I travel a lot and I don't repeat countries, but that's something I would repeat over and over and over again. I loved that trip. That was awesome.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. I also, I think in a lot of countries, you kind of get used to the touristy stuff, but a safari is just, I think it's just such an experience. Animals and
it is. Say quickly, Chris just gave me a note. It said the Zoom link for tomorrow invite doesn't have it for us. So for me,
we're tomorrow, just getting Google Meet links in our. We use Outlook, so it seems like the invite is not translating correctly for us for some reason.
I'll double check that now when we start. Thank you for letting me know, Chris. Okay, I'm going to hit the record button. I'm going to mute myself, and we're going live on the hour.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
I think I've got about 30 seconds.
14.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look, Natasha.
Didn't cue me up here.
5 seconds.
I'm going to wait 5 after that so that they can, because the feed starts a little bit later sometimes. Okay, I'll count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome, South Africa. I'm Monica Reynolds, VP of MAPS Coaching, and I was at your family reunion a couple of years ago, and I so look forward to coming back to your great country. It was one of the most amazing trips, and of course, you guys, people, agents were so incredible. I can't wait to see you again. So today's panelists are experts at taking listings. And so we're going to have a little battle of the Scriptmasters listings, and we're going to go through methodically how to really go after a listing, an exclusive one where you're the sole listing agent. So I want you to consider this. In the MREA book, Gary talks about leads, listing, and leverage. And he also states that the listings is the most important L word in that triangle: leads, listing, and leverage. And so when someone asks me, why should I focus on listings? I say, there's a multitude of reasons. They're all in the MREA book. But the two that come out significantly for me is, number one, you get your time back. You're not running around with your hair on fire with the buyer, hoping that you're going to be able to secure that property. Make sure, when you write the offer, you're not running around it. Well, we want to see property Saturday morning or Sunday afternoon, and you're not taking away from your family time. So one thing's important is time. The second thing is you get an opportunity to really market that listing, which leads to more business, more opportunities for you, and more branding for yourself when people see your sign out there. So those are the two main reasons. So I'm going to start with Miss Molly first. Molly, tell everybody who you are, where are you from, what's going on? Who are you? Why did you get to be on this panel?
I don't know. Someone must have flipped a coin. No. Thank you, Monica. And thank you. Hey, South Africa. I am so excited to be here today. What an honor. I am a MAPS Bold coach, and I live in Asheville, North Carolina, which is on the East Coast and just in the mountains of North Carolina, right between New York and Florida. And I also run a mega team here in Asheville. We have 4 agents, including myself. I function also as a full-time buyer's agent within the business, and we closed 245 transactions last year. And I also coach the listing team and make sure that they are driving the machine that is our business.
Awesome. All right, Miss Nicole Zuber.
Hello. Thank you, Monica. Hello, South Africa. We are so excited to come visit you in person, like Monica said, hopefully next year, right? So I'm Nicole Zuber. I'm a head coach with MAPS Coaching, and I have the privilege of leading some of the biggest teams in the industry, and I oversee the operations division for MAPS Coaching. I've been in the industry for 17 years. I have served every role possible in that organizational chart, from runner to lead listing agent to director of ops, CEO, you name it. Been there, done that. And it is an absolute privilege to be here with all of you.
Okay, and the famous Andrew Bloom, tell us about yourself to remind everybody where you're from.
Well, thank you very much, Monica. And it's so great to be here virtually with all of you in South Africa. Can't wait for us to come next year and safari together. So really looking forward to that. I am Andrew Bloom. I've been in the industry for 30 years. I started off as a social worker in low-income housing, and 5 years later got my real estate license. I sold 40 homes that first year to low-income families. Last year, my team in Arizona did 186 million in volume, about 286 units. And now I'm living in Los Angeles. I'm running a team as a team leader with 400 amazing agents in Los Angeles, while still running a team in Arizona that's outperforming the market every single day.
That's great. Okay, so the first question, you guys, fasten your seatbelt. Look for one nugget today that's going to make a difference. And so I want to bust up the myth of, scripts. That just sounds too canned. So, Molly, I'll start with you. Why do you use a script? Why is a script important? Obviously, you're a bold coach, so you got your scripts down. Why do you feel that's important when you're training agents?
Yeah, this is such an important question, particularly because I am just like y'all, right? So I understand that initially maybe your mindset says, scripts aren't for me. I don't talk like that. That's not what I sound like, et cetera, et cetera. However, what I learned is that scripts are the tools of the real estate trade, right? This is the tool of a professional. We know that professionals don't wing it. If you don't know what to say and when to say it, you could end up costing someone the largest investment of their lifetime. So for me, scripts are so important because it's a tool that we use to help people, which is ultimately our goal.
Nicole, what about you, please, ma'am?
Woo, that was awesome, Molly, like intense, right? So in a good way. So I believe that scripts are so important for spontaneity. That's the one word, spontaneity. So you can be consciously present with your client and let your subconscious mind do the response. When you're present with your client, you're going to be able to be there for their best interest, finding their motivation, what a victory looks like for them, and what their goals are. Remember, it's about them, not us.
Mr. Andrew.
Well, this is great. To me, Scripts is about internalizing the journey. When you can lead with your eyes closed, you can really take people further in the journey. And so that's really important. You know, when you're able to hold somebody's hand and close your eyes and walk through the journey, then you've really been able to create a strong relationship with that person. So internalizing these scripts allows you to not have to think. It allows you to just really close your eyes and be present. And hopefully when you're with your clients, your eyes are open. But you know, it's about internalizing it so that you can walk on that journey without having to look at the path.
Yeah, Scripts is the easy button, guys. Write that down. Once you know what to say, how to say it, when to say it, you're going to control the outcome of the conversation. And so when you learn them, memorize them, internalize them, then they come out naturally out of your voice. So pay attention to that. Okay, so what are some tips for preparing for the appointment? Nicole, I'll start with you first.
Well, great question, Monica. So when I was in production, spending upfront time over the phone with the seller to start building rapport and get a sense of their motivation was one of my favorite practices. So we called it, before the listing appointment, spending time with what we call the pre-qualification script. So, I mean, it's no different than with a buyer. You wouldn't take a buyer out looking at property and spending the entire day going back and forth, driving place to place without knowing if they were able and could afford the property. So the question is, why would you do that with the seller? So spending 30 minutes up front could save you 30 days of like hardship in the future before you even go out there. So want me to go over some of the questions that I ask in the pre-qualification?
Give us a couple.
Perfect. So knowing where, Mr. Seller, where do you plan to go? And how soon do you need to be there is really important. How much do they think that their home is worth? I mean, if the property is worth 400,000 or the market shows it's worth 400,000 and I think it's worth $1 million, it's like you could become better prepared or help them see things differently by the time you get out there. How much do they own the home? And are they interviewing other agents?
Well, that one there, are they talking to other agents? You need to be prepared for that for sure. Andrew, what about you? How do you prepare for a listing appointment?
Well, I think thank you, Monica, by the way. I think one of the important things is that you know who you're going to meet with. Right now, we have access to all kinds of information online through Google or other resources, Facebook. It's really important to stalk the potential client, get to know who they are, understand what their DISC profile is based on their behaviors. What kind of career are they in? What kind of family life do they have? These are really important things that you take a few minutes and you do some research online before you go on the appointment so that you understand the personality profile that you're coming into a conversation with. That will allow you to present yourself in a way that's more empathic, and you'll have a much better chance of connecting with the person at their level. So if you're working with somebody that's a high D and you want to go in with a lot of social conversation and you want to get to know them and you're looking for some commonality, it may not work, right?
You're right.
And if
you're right.
Somebody and you're coming in with numbers and stats and data, you may not be communicating your message quite as clearly. So really profiling the person that you're going to meet with is just as important as understanding their motivation.
Good. Okay, Miss Molly.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm a mindset coach. So my advice is going to be on mindset. Get yourself prepared for the win. Get yourself prepared for the yes. Get there early and give yourself a little tour around the neighborhood. Ensure that you've put yourself in a position to show up as that professional on time and ready to go. Y'all, people can smell your confidence, right? And people want to work with people who show up as confident. And I want to look at you and know this person's going to sell my house. So prepare to be that professional and prepare first in your mind. Visualization goes a long way. walk through your model in your mind. So you get your nerves out, get there early, show up as a professional, and then work the plan.
So in conclusion on that is that there's a bridge of rapport. And so like what Andrew and Nicole were saying, find out who they are and then have the confidence to know exactly what the market is doing per what just Molly just said. Okay, so I'll start with Andrew next. How long is your listing presentation and do you use a script?
Well, I think we like to call them listing consultations anymore, right? And so it's really more of a conversation and a consultation than it would be a presentation. In fact, I think they're presenting to us just as much as we are presenting to them. And, a listing consultation can take 15 minutes or several hours. I've walked in the door where they said, we don't really want to hear it. We already know we want to hire you. So let's just get to the paperwork and get this done. And then we've had other consultations that will take hours. So it really depends on the circumstances and the situation with the seller. I think the important thing is that you have the ability to do either. You have the ability to go in and in 15 minutes be able to get to the close, or if it takes you 2 hours to get to the close, right? So sometimes we have to work at the pace of the seller.
Okay, Miss Nicole.
Yeah,
How about-
so spending that time up front on that pre-qualification, I personally think when you have that rapport and you know what you're walking into and what you're going to have to handle when you get there, I don't think it should take more than 20 to 30 minutes. There's no right or wrong. It's just really, I can't drive home. Spending that time up front before to start the process is really important.
Hey, Molly, how about you? How long's your presentation?
Yeah, we follow the one that has been taught in Bold for years, and that model, when you follow it, similar to Andrew, some folks are like, yeah, we know the spiel. We never skip setting expectations and closing. Those are the two things that you cannot skip. So outside of that, same thing. I think that a listing appointment could be as short as 20 to 25 minutes. We don't have many that are longer than 40 minutes. Like Andrew, though, there's occasionally someone who's selling the house they've lived in for 50 years. And you certainly want to honor that and drink the tea, have the cookie, and take a little more time.
So what everybody is saying, every case is different. However, a script is absolutely important. And one of the tips that I've always coached people to, until you've internalized the script, you just walk in with a clipboard and say, Mr. Seller, I wrote some important questions to ask you. Let's get started. And so you don't have, it's great to memorize it. And if you don't have it memorized or you're nervous about it and you haven't done, routinely lots and lots and lots of them till you've got that down, then you're going to bring the script with you. So don't worry about that. All right, so let's go have some fun here. So what are 3 questions? I'll go back to you, Molly, from script that you feel that are so important that those are questions that you always ask.
Yeah, so for us, obviously, we know the power in asking questions. It's so critical. Nicole has been talking very eloquently about the importance of the pre-approval, the pre-qualification, your first conversation. So when you get in person or even in a virtual scenario like this, you want to make sure that you're digging deeper. So for us, it's about understanding at a deeper level, right? We all know 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2,000 square feet, blah, right? I'm better than Zillow. I've got to be better than a platform. So for us, it goes from what's important to you about selling your home, which we've obviously talked to them about before, to why is that important to you? Tell me more about that. Can you explain to me what that means to you and your family? So our big answer here really is in tying into the relationship. What are the questions that you're going to ask, that we're going to ask, that are going to really, number one, help that seller understand that we genuinely care? Because here's the trick to this. There's no trick. We do genuinely care. And asking questions shows that. And then second, shows them you're different. If they're interviewing or talking to several different agents, it's going to be a real rare commodity to find someone who asks questions at the level that we do. And if you're dealing with a high aggressive type personality, go ahead and hit that off at the pass. If I were listing Monica's house, I would probably say, Monica, this is going to feel a little bit different. It may even sound like sometimes I'm redundant and asking the same question. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to understand you and your motivation at the highest level so I can get you where you want to be when you want to be there.
Great. All right, Andrew, I'll go to you next. What are a couple of questions that you have to ask on a presentation?
Well, I think one of the most important things up front is, how did you hear about me? Right? I mean, I think that's really like an important question. How did you hear about me? And then dig deeper on that, right? I was referred to you. By who? Great. Okay. And did they talk to you about their experience? What kind of an experience do you want to have in this transaction? How involved do you want to be, right? I think it's important to, we ask questions and we dig deeper, and it's really about them. What kind of an experience do they want to have in this transaction? And what kind of experiences have they had in the past that they enjoyed in a real estate transaction, or what kinds of experiences they have in a real estate transaction that might have caused them any pain? And just really having that organic, authentic conversation with them about what they want and what their expectations are and how we deliver and what we do seems to solve a lot of problems right in the front end.
Good. Ms. Nicole.
Everything they said.
Okay, good. And what would you add?
So one thing that I would definitely add, so even if you're continuing to build rapport, is, so Monica, what's important about moving to Cape Town for you? Taking them into the future, finding out where it is they want to go so that you could help get them there. That's an additional thing that I would add. And then also the simple script, Mr. Seller, when it's all said and done, what does a victory look like for you? You guys, they will tell you.
That's a great question to ask. Write it down.
They will tell you what they want, and then just document it and then go do it.
And the other question too is just like that, describe the perfect relationship that we should have. Tell me what you want from me regarding communication. So ask them what they want and then deliver it at a higher level. And so, that's the easy button. Just say, tell me what you would like in our relationship regarding communication. That way, the number one challenge for it, national statistics is that most listing sellers never hear from their agent very often, if ever, until there's an offer. And so, especially in a fast-paced market, you've still got to be talking to them quite a bit, lots of time, because that's your future business moving forward too. I think the other things that you have to be prepared for during that is making sure that you're gluing down that they agree to the price. Does this price make sense to you? Are we on the same page about this price? And so you glue that down. And then you go through the contract and you say, are there any questions about the standard contract? And so once you start to go through those, and I do agree that our marketing plan will absolutely get your home sold. So you're tying them down, and then you're going to get into some of the objections. So here we go. So Andrew, I'm the seller. Gosh, Andrew, you've said some great things tonight, and I'm just going to think it over. I think it's just important for me to think it over. This is a big decision.
Oh, I can understand that, Monica. It is a big decision, and thinking it over is something that I certainly admire and respect about it. What is it that we can do right now to make you more comfortable in making a decision today about listing with us?
Oh, I just got to really get the price down in my head. I was wanting and needing a lot more than what you've offered, but it makes sense. But I just gotta sleep on it tonight.
Well, I can understand that. We went through the comps, and I think there was pretty good reason to suggest that we should be priced where we suggested being priced. Is there anything on these comps here that we're missing?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I know these houses, and apparently you do too. So, I mean, I'm pretty smart in the neighborhood what's selling. So, yeah, this is right.
So it seems like there's a discrepancy here with where you want to list the house at. But as we discussed, your bottom line and your net, we pretty much have that figured out, right? As long as you can walk away with $800,000 in your pocket, you're happy.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it would make sense for us to list the house right at market value, potentially creating an opportunity to get more than one offer, maybe getting a little more money out of the deal than we, might otherwise expect. And if we can get you exactly what you want out of the house, are you ready to move forward with me tonight?
Yes. Now watch this. I'm going to transition to Molly. Well, Molly, or you're okay. So, you know, I think I hear what you're saying, but I want to list it higher.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that, Monica. And let me tell you this. I want you to make the most money too. I promise you, if I could list it at a higher price that would sell, that's exactly what we would be doing, because ultimately your goal is my goal. So here's what I'm afraid of though. By listing it at that higher price, we might be doing you a disservice and you might end up making less money. So let's talk about that. Let me ask you a question, Monica. If you went to a doctor and the doctor found out that something was wrong with you, would you want them to hold that back and just be like, you're fine, Monica, have a good day, bye? Or would you want them to be honest with you?
Oh, I need them to be honest.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you're asking of me today. I could sit right here at your table and tell you, sure, we'll list it at that price, yet I know that would be a disease that would not help you in your real estate goals. So I'm here to tell you the truth. And the truth is the market is telling us this is the price that's going to get it sold. So I'd love for you to help me do the right thing by you and get your home sold by listing it at $450. How does that sound?
Okay, now watch this transition. Okay, so Nicole, I hear what you're saying. I agree. I don't want a disease. I don't want any of that. So I'm going to ask you to cut your commission.
Well, Monica, I can certainly appreciate where you're coming from. What I think I'm hearing you say, though, is you'd like to net the most amount of money possible, right?
Right.
Great. Well, that's why you hired me today. You see, I'm here to protect every penny in the sale by getting you the most amount of money that today's market will bear. And Monica, what concerns me about an agent anybody that's willing to cut their commissions right out of the gate is if they can't protect their livelihood, how are they going to protect yours?
Exactly right. Okay, so when you guys are looking at this, and I've been in real estate over 40 years, and so people will come up to me, agents, and say, what's the one thing I've got to do? What's the one thing I got to learn? I go, learn your objection handlers. And so role play these objection handlers. You know what the common ones are in your market so that they easily come out. You know, when they want the commission cut, you know, I'm here to protect your equity. And this is what we do. So you've got to have a value proposition so that you feel confident, and do not be cutting commissions. That's a no-no. Your value and your value proposition. And if the presentation or the consulting is absolutely top notch, they don't ask to cut the commission. They don't ask because you've come in there professionally and confidently. So when it comes to objection handlers, you heard everyone repeat what the objection is. So what I hear you saying is you want to net more money, you know, so repeating and affirming what they say. Of course, that makes sense. And here's something I'd like you to consider. So that's just a real easy little transition script there.
Monica, if I may, because I know that there are some newer agents on who may be worried about what they can practice. You just gave the very beginning of every single one. Repeat and affirm what you hear them saying, and then isolate it so you know what you're dealing with. So if you're wondering what to practice, repeat and affirm. And then other than wanting to cut the commission, is there any other reason you wouldn't list with me today? Other than wanting to interview other agents, is there any other reason you wouldn't list with me today? Go ahead and practice that over and over, and that'll be a great foundation for your script practices.
Yeah, and so what Molly said is when they give you an objection, you're isolating that, and you're absolutely getting them to say, by asking the question, again, I'm going to repeat it, is there anything else that would keep us from working together today? And then if they absolutely keep pausing and pausing and pausing, you know, what we're going to do right now is we're going to go to close the signature, and then I'll give you some tips on that too. All right, so you know, what's your close, Andrew, when you are closing? How do you get to the close?
Well, it's pretty simple. I mean, you know, let's move forward tonight. I mean, it really, I think it's natural a lot of times and maybe that's because, you know, we've internalized this and we've been doing it for so long. So, you know, we don't really discuss commissions unless it comes up. So it's really not much of a conversation. And, you know, then it's sign here, press hard, you're going through 4 copies, So, I mean, there's just not, it's a very assumptive close. I would say that most of the time it's very assumptive. Okay, so we've agreed on price, we've agreed on terms. Let's go ahead and do the paperwork.
Okay, so what Andrew is saying, everyone, pay attention. 100% mindset. You're walking up to that door. This is my next listing. This is my next sold. I love my listing appointment. Yes, sign the contract, right? So it's 100% mindset. You're not going to go see if you can get the listing. You're taking the listing. All right, Miss Molly, good golly, what do you got to say?
So this one's fun. I obviously have a lot of fun in the things that I do, and closing for me is the fun part, right? Closing is a natural progression of a fantastic consultation or presentation. You've done that. So now, like Andrew said, be assumptive about it. So what I like to say is, all right, I've been jabbering on for 15 minutes. Now's the fun part. You're just going to give me your autograph in these few marked spaces. I'm going to sit back and relax for a couple minutes, and then that'll be my break. I'll get out of your house and get to work to get your home sold. That's it.
All right. I like it. Nicole.
Same thing. Got to assume it. All right, Monica, here's a pen. Time to put me to work.
Okay, good. All right.
Or iPad, whatever.
Yep.
All right. So, basically the bottom line is, okay, let's start the paperwork. So sometimes the progression for some clients and some, depending on the personality style, you've got to move them forward. So there's always, when you know that you're going to have to nail them down on different points. So does the contract make sense if you go through the contract with them? Great. So we're on the same page there. Are there any questions about what we've determined is the value of your home, which will cause it to sell? No questions there. Do you believe that do you see, based on my presentation, that I have a very proactive marketing plan that will get your home, exposed everywhere? Yes, that's great. I go, great, let's sign the paperwork. Now, if they come back with a question though, and they go, well, I don't know this or that. And I go, well, we've agreed on all those 3 things. What's causing you to hesitate tonight? What's the one thing that you need to hear that will help you make that decision? Because I know that you want to move to Cape Town. And I know that, your family really wants you to get closer to them. And you've got to know why they're moving to Cape Town. And as Nicole and everyone has said, going 3 levels deep, like Molly said, what's important about Cape Town to you and your family. So keep going so you know exactly their motivation, then weave it back in there. All right. Okay. So let's talk about this now. So if you're coaching an agent on your teams or with a MAPS client, what are some words of wisdom about listings? So Andrew, I'll start with you first. What would you tell the audience here?
Well, I would tell you that it all starts with listings. We are starting to teach Ignite in reverse now, right? We are teaching agents to go after listings first, because listings are actually easier for you as a new agent to go after. And here's the reason why. Overnight, you can discover everything you want to know about that property, the community, the comps, the schools, the neighborhood, the values. And it's an easy way for you to isolate your business and be focused on just one thing. Buyers are all over the place. There's no sense of timing. They can live on any side of the street. And there's so many things to know representing a buyer that you can't learn overnight because their needs change. Sellers are fixed. They're in a home that's attached to the ground. It's not going anywhere. So you're able to conduct a quick study on the listings that you're going after. If you target a community, if you identify a neighborhood that you love, you absolutely adore the neighborhood, whether you live there or not. You know the best restaurants, you know where to shop. Then it's just a matter of focusing on that community. Identify and target 200 or 500 or 1,000 doors and just study those homes and go after the listings first, because that's going to drive your business. And one of the other advantages to going after listings first as a new agent is you don't need to go alone. Bring a more experienced, seasoned agent from your office with you on the appointment. If you're not a part of a team and you're in an office with other agents, offer a seasoned veteran 10% of the commission to go with you on the appointment, or 25% of the commission to work the listing with you. Your responsibility as a new agent is to go get your first listing, and I know you can do it.
Well, that's the Keller Williams culture, is to partner up. So I love that. So hopefully the newer agents, you really take that to heart. Okay, good. Molly, words of wisdom about taking a listing.
Okay, so I said it at the beginning, I'm going to say it again. I want you to write it down a million times over. Follow the model. Here's the thing about following the model that is so important. Don't worry. Notice in it doesn't say perfect the model. Sure, you will get better and better over time. Just follow the model. Following a model like scripts, like the bold presentation, there are a million models out there. Find the one that you like, that suits your personality and that gets your results, and then go do it. Even if you tank, even if you bomb, it's okay. Because here's the thing that you can do when you follow the model. You can fix it, right? Sometimes you wing it and it goes great. And sometimes you wing it and it doesn't go so great. What happens though when you wing it is you can't fix what didn't work and you can't duplicate what did work. So have a plan, follow your plan, improve your plan. That should be your mantra. Have a plan, follow the plan, improve the plan. That's it. This is not rocket science.
So let's you and I give them a plan right now. So what's a basic plan? So step one is pre-qualifying, right, Molly?
Yep, absolutely.
And taking the time and not just taking the appointment and going out there. Build that rapport bridge over the phone. Know if they're going to have other agents. Ask the question, if what I say makes sense, are you prepared to get your home on the market tonight?
That's right.
When understand who they are so that you're not walking into what I call landmines. Oh, well, we have a friend in the business. She's coming over tomorrow to talk to us. Oh, my husband's not here. Just come on in, tell me everything and I'll tell them. When you have two parties that need to sign, one's not there, you now made that person your salesperson.
Right.
So step one is take the time, pre-qualify, don't wing going out there. What would be the second step, Molly?
Be on time. So the second step is going to be in your preparation to be on time and do your research. Andrew touched on this at a really high level. You've got to know what you're going to talk about. They're hiring you and paying you an enormous amount of money. So show up like that. Be on time, be prepared. And then the best thing to do is understand what you're doing once you get there. Once you're there on time and you walk in, then set the stage. That's your very first step in the plan. Set the stage, which is generally just setting expectations. Andrew, here's what we're going to be doing today. And then go through your plan. Again, there are several different models for listing presentations. Find the one that works for you. Tell them what it's going to be, and then walk through it step by step. The beginning is setting expectations. The ending is closing. Everything in the middle is part of your plan.
Okay, so there was one step in there that I think should be a real solid step, and that's first is pre-qualifying. Second is study the market. And if you're going to their home, make sure that you're driving the neighborhood. There's nothing like seeing a great house and hearing about how great it is, and then you drive up in the neighborhood and you see that a lot of the homes have not been well kept, or there's something kind of weird going on in the neighborhood that looks a little suspicious, and you're going, okay, that price now maybe needs to be adjusted down. So you need to drive the neighborhood. You need to drive what's sold, what's pended, what's under contract. You need to look at the neighborhood. The key is, do you know more about the neighborhood than they do? And there's nothing like walking in, and I know we've all experienced it, where the seller knew more about the neighborhood than I did, and that's disastrous. That's disastrous.
And Monica, on that same note, not to interrupt, my apologies, yet not just about the neighborhood, about the houses for sale and that have sold in the neighborhood. Going back to that question you asked earlier, what's a great question to ask? A great question to ask when reviewing the comps is, have you been inside this home? Because the last thing you want to do when helping them understand value is have them be like, what? That comp, you obviously haven't been there. There was a flood in the basement, or the roof fell off, or whatever. So Monica said it best. You need to make sure you know more than they do.
Okay. And then having your script is part of that, and having your questions prepared. So when you walk in, I wrote some questions down. So you're building that rapport and you understand who they are. And then obviously having your scripts down to close for the and handle the objection handlers. And that's basically it. Then go market it, get it sold, right? Okay, Nicole, what are your last words of wisdom?
Well, I just want to piggyback on how you started this conversation today, Monica. When you focus your Legion efforts on listings, you will buy back so much more of your time. I know that I'm not the only one here on this conference that is a career parent. I am a wife, a mommy, a business leader, and we only have 24 hours in the day, right? So when you're focused on listings, you're going to be able to control more of your time. You're going to be able to project more predictable income. And by default, this one book, Red in Color, you'll be able to follow the 3 L's and cause more buyers and sellers to come through your listings.
Yeah, so just to continue the conversation a little bit more, you know, when we all started out, most people start out as a buyer agent. I know I did, because I was like, oh, I don't know the market, I can't do this. And I would avoid listings at all costs. And then about 6 months into my career, I went, gosh, I've got to go take this listing. I can't get out of this one. And then I realized, wow, this is not so hard. And wow, I went on vacation and I had 3 listings sell and I made money. Or wow, I didn't have to run around all day Saturday and Sunday with buyers that I hope would write an offer that was decent that I can negotiate and go from there. So, you know, when you look at listings, you've got to have the right mindset. So Molly, what's a mindset shift for people that have been working strictly buyers? Because we know we have buyer markets all over the world right now.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And
So it's
buyers are everywhere is what I meant.
No, that's exactly right. So it's an affirmation. You've got to watch the words that you're telling yourself. If you find yourself, Monica, I was in that exact same position when I was a newer agent, and it's motivated by fear. It's the fear of the unknown and the fear of failure. So when you let those fears overcome you, they stop you from moving in that forward direction. You can have a wonderful business working with buyers, certainly, yet it's not what we know will create that life by design. So starting with your affirmations and watching the words that you're telling yourself. Monica, I heard you say in the beginning, you're like, I don't like taking listings. I don't want to. So watch that. At first, that's going to be a manual switch that you must flip every day. And sometimes people might even say, you may have heard, fake it till you make it. You may need to do that a little bit as you train your brain to understand what it is that you desire to become. So I'm a great listing agent, and every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. So let yourself begin to believe that as you're growing and learning, you're getting better. And that compound effect is going to impact your confidence, your actions, and ultimately, of course, your achievements. It all starts up in here. Don't limit yourself in your mind before you even have the opportunity to get out there and do what you're most afraid of, which is failing. I promise it'll be the best failure of your life as soon as you get into action.
Yeah, and it goes back to mindset. And Andrew and Nicole, I'll ask you about this too, because in affirmation, so for example, my next call is my next listing appointment. I love listings. Listings love me. Sellers love me. Yes, dial the phone, right? And so you have to know that you've got to have that mindset. And listings is the name of the game. That's why Gary wrote leads, listing, and leverage. And listing is the #1 thing he said to focus on. So Andrew, if you have an agent on your team and they're struggling with listings, what are some of the things that you do to get them on track?
Well, we get them into momentum fast. We partner with them. I think it's very important when you take new agents on that you have an apprenticeship program. One of the reasons why my team has been so successful and grown so rapidly is because I've mastered the lead lever of listings, which gives me and affords me the opportunity to partner with the agents on my team to get them into momentum fast. I give up a small slice of the pie to the agents on the team so that they can go make more pie with it, right? So understanding, once you've mastered the lead generation model, you have to then lean on the organizational model and run the organizational model properly. In other words, the business that you generate as a rainmaker needs to be dissected and compartmentalized to your team so that they can manage the process, right? So on our team, if you're a new agent, you're going to come on that listing appointment as a scribe. Your sole responsibility is just to take notes, and take more notes. And for that, you're going to get 5% of the listing commission. And you're going to do that for 5 listings. Now, if you procure a listing on your own, you'll get 50%. But if I'm inviting you to the consultation and I'm inviting you to the listing appointment, you're either going to work with me or one of the other senior agents on the team who cap at 20%. So we keep our cost of sell at 25%. So we're in model. I'm going a little more advanced here. This may not be understood by all the new agents, but if you're a new agent, get on a team that's dominating the market, that they have opportunities for you to get into an apprenticeship or mentorship program. When our agents walk away from a listing appointment and they're new in the business and they get 5%, but now they get to circle, prospect, and door knock around that listing that their name is also associated with. They're on the marketing collateral, they're on the flyers, they're able to run their own ads with that. Get out of the starting block fast, gain momentum quickly. Nobody gets in this business to work the telephones. We get in this business to be belly to belly with buyers and sellers. So the sooner you can get belly to belly, the better. If you're an agent, shadow buyer, shadow showing, right?
Right. Okay. So role playing is absolutely critical to all of these things, and shadowing is critical. So make a note of that. So I wanted to answer one of the questions here. What does the situation be like if a one party wanted to give sole mandate, but the other say open mandate? So I'm familiar with that in South Africa. So it's all about the value proposition. When you have these open mandates, no one's really working on the listing. They're not specifically focused on exposing it and finding that buyer. They're just hoping something comes in. So I've worked with a South African agent before, and I said, get your value proposition and then go back to these open mandates that you have and go back and make them a sold mandate and say, here's what I'd like to do for you so that you do get your home sold. But then you're going to have to work with a seller who has clear motivation. Why are you moving? Where are you going? And when do you need to be there? When is the most important answer, because if they have a time frame, they're committed to moving versus, well, when we sell it, we sell it. We're not sure yet. That's not a seller. So be careful. Your sold mandates are those motivated sellers. Another question here, I'll open this up because they are experiencing COVID like we are. What would you say to someone if they want the COVID situation to improve? Only then will they consider listing. We all deal with that every single day. So Molly, how do you guys answer that in your area?
Sure. Yeah. And frankly, y'all, we dealt with this before COVID, right? COVID is insert the word. I want to list once Christmas is over. I want to list when the summer is done, when my kid moves. So there's always going to be that objection. And for us, there's one simple thing that's on our side here. And it's the fact that none of us are clairvoyant. None of us can see into the future, and there is no crystal ball. So the answer to this is, first of all, of course, start with understanding. We never want them to think that we're talking down to them. So Monica, I completely understand how you feel. Many of the people we've worked with before have felt this exact same way. And here's what we found, Monica. What we know to be 100% true is in the market as it exists right now. And what I know about this current market is that there has never been a better time to get your home sold than right now. And because I can't see the future, I wish I could, because I don't know what's going to happen with the market, I'm going to advise you from the position of what I do know, which is that this is a fantastic time despite everything that's going on. And I'm going to work to make certain that you have the opportunity to take advantage of that.
Yeah. And we'll share with Natasha. MAPS has a COVID playbook of scripts. So we'll send that to Natasha and she can send that out to all of you. So another word real quick, Nicole, on the COVID situation, because I know you coach a lot of huge teams and everything. So business as usual, right?
It is. And when you're clear on their motivation and where it is they want to go and the reason why, you could help them understand, is this the best move for them right now? And when they're clear on that, whether it's COVID or a job relocation, whatever the objection is, when you're clear on those things, you'll be able to help them move forward.
Yeah, and you've just got to have a list of, by the way, we have a list of all of our safety protocols that we follow. So put your safety protocols together. That is part of your value proposition. There are going to be people who are very, very concerned about that, rightly so. And no matter who the person is, you want to have some safety protocols that you adhere to.
Yeah.
So in closing here real quick, yeah, go ahead, Nicole.
I was going to say, so amidst this global pandemic, there is not one person that is there viewing what we've gone through this last year with the same lens. Everybody's looking at this differently. So you can't go in with a fixed mind and say, okay, this is how it has to be. When you show up and you come from curiosity and help them understand what their best interest is, then you're going to, that's the solution. It's about them, not us.
Bingo.
There you go. Okay, so in conclusion, everybody, really quick, I took some notes. Imagine that. So here's what I'd like to challenge you on. Role play a soul mandate. Anybody can take the party mandates. Be the soul mandate person. That's where you make the big bucks. Number 2, pre-qualify every single appointment. Take a deep breath, step back, make time for that, and have a nice conversation. Build that rapport bridge. Find out who they are. Their motivation is clear. There is the power of asking questions. You role play those too. If you don't have your script memorized, take it with you. They don't know that you don't know it memorized. Take it with you. You don't have to wing these things. The other thing is know your objection handlers, role play. Have at least 4 role play partners every week. And within 1 month, your business skills have gone from here to the ceiling and back. It is amazing what can happen there. And the other thing that I think came out of today's call is that you saw how confident they are. If you're not confident, then you work on that with role plays. Grab somebody in your office and say, hey, let's role play a listing presentation together. Let's do a soul mandate together. Let's talk about that. I can help you. You can help me, because that's our culture. So thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Molly. Thank you, Nicole. And thank you, South Africa. I can't wait to see you in person. And I know everybody on this screen is coming too. So have